Chosen one. It's almost poetic how life is unfolding right now. At the very beginning of this downfall, they said you were mentally unstable, swore you were dramatic, paranoid, delusional. But now they're sitting in the exact reality you warned them about. Legal trouble, broken relationships, financial collapse, everything manifesting exactly as you said it would. But now the universe is proving the real story. You weren't unstable, you were tuned in. You weren't delusional, you were prophetic. You weren't overthinking, you were receiving. This moment marks your awakening. Their downfall is your confirmation. Let me take you back to the moment you opened your mouth and spoke truth. You were trying to warn someone you cared about. You saw exactly what was coming. You said if you rush into this relationship, chaos will follow. If you connect with that person, regret will consume you. If you do not address this addiction, it will spiral beyond control. If you keep treating people this way, isolation will be your reality. You spoke with clarity, with specificity. You gave warnings about what would unfold if the path continued unchanged. The response was mockery, eye rolls, smirks, maybe even a condescending voice repeating your words to others. You became the joke at gatherings you were not invited to. People were told you were too spiritual, too sensitive, too dramatic. The message spread that you needed help, that your beliefs were making you paranoid. What you were witnessing was projection. Mental instability was being projected onto you by someone who could not handle the mirror you held up. Here is where it gets deeper. This person actually thought superiority was justified, wore false confidence like armor, believed knowing better than you about everything was reasonable. When you spoke from intuition, logic that made no sense was used to counter you. When you felt energy, dismissive explanations that ignored obvious red flags were offered. You were patronized, talked down to, made to feel small for seeing big truths. Doubt crept in. You started questioning whether maybe you were reading too much into situations. Maybe you were being irrational. Maybe your gifts were not as clear as you thought. The gaslighting was so effective that shrinking became your response. Sharing what you saw stopped. Visions stayed private. Your light dimmed because every time it shone, something felt wrong with you according to others. But chosen one, listen carefully. While mockery was happening, the universe was setting everything in motion to prove you right. While laughter echoed, karma was preparing lessons that would never be forgotten. Your words were being recorded in the spiritual realm. Your prophecies were being stamped with divine authority. A countdown was beginning. Time was about to reveal who really saw clearly. You warned about a specific person. You felt that energy clearly. You saw red flags that were invisible to others. You said, do not trust this individual. Do not get involved. That connection will destroy you. But intensity had already taken hold. Surface attraction had created blindness. Conviction existed that this situation was different, special. You did not understand the unique bond. You were just being negative, maybe even jealous. The warnings were ignored. The rush forward continued. Every warning sign you pointed out was dismissed. Maybe your warnings were about behavior patterns. You saw addiction growing from manageable to consuming. You watched patterns repeating in destructive cycles. You noticed how people were being treated, how situations were being manipulated, how bridges were burning without backward glances. You said gently, carefully, lovingly, that this path leads to isolation, to consequences, to a reckoning beyond imagination. But justifications flowed endlessly, excuses piled high, conviction took root that rules did not apply, that being smarter meant being safer, that being more careful meant being immune to consequences. You even warned about specific outcomes. You said if this continues, legal trouble is approaching. Financial disaster is on the horizon. That relationship will implode publicly. People who seem permanent will disappear. Involvement with authorities will happen. Formal proceedings will demand answers. Questions will be asked that cannot be avoided. Accountability will arrive that cannot be escaped. The laughter grew louder at those warnings, because how could you possibly know? How could you predict the future? That part made the discomfort unbearable. Your accuracy, your precision, your ability to see what had not yet occurred. But you were not predicting. You were reading energy. You were following cause and effect on a spiritual level. You were seeing natural outcomes of choices being actively made, karma and consequence, divine law playing out exactly as it always does. Every warning you gave was an opportunity to change course, to choose differently, to avoid the pain you saw approaching. Every opportunity was rejected. Every warning was mocked. Now the bill is due. That relationship you warned about has exploded. The person you said not to trust has shown true nature in devastating fashion. Everything you predicted about that connection has manifested. The betrayal, the lies, the public humiliation, the toxic patterns you called out are now undeniable. This person sits in wreckage, wondering how you knew, how you saw what could not be seen, how you read that situation with such accuracy when blindness was total. But the devastation goes deeper. Legal involvement is happening now. Authorities are asking questions. Formal proceedings demand answers. The very thing you said would happen if behavior did not change. Situations exist now where charm does not work, where manipulation fails, where masks cannot hide truth. Being forced to face reality is happening. To tell the truth, to be accountable in ways never imagined. The realization is dawning that being clever was an illusion, that being untouchable was a fantasy. The addiction you pointed out is spiraling completely. What was sworn to be under control now controls everything. Relationships have been cost, health has been damaged, reputation has been destroyed. Problems exist that have no solutions. Your gentle mention is remembered now. Your loving concern echoes. Your genuine care haunts. The dismissal is remembered too. The insistence that you were overreacting. The claims that you did not understand. But you understood perfectly. You saw the monster before full revelation. Now face-to-face contact with it is reality. Financial trouble is hitting with force. Money problems you predicted are real. Debts accumulated through greed or recklessness are due. Losses suffered by ignoring wisdom are devastating. The danger you warned about in money matters exists now. Very pressing, very real, very destructive. Everything built on shaky foundations is collapsing. Everything thought to be secure is proving to be illusion. Your words about this play on repeat like a prophecy that cannot be denied. Sleep is being lost. Events are being replayed. Thoughts about you are constant. Your warnings haunt. Your face appears in thoughts. Your expression when you try to tell the truth is remembered. The concern in your voice echoes. The genuine care you showed, even when facing mockery, is undeniable. This is eating away at everything, because facing something that shatters ego completely is required. You were right. You were right about everything. If you recognized yourself in this message, hype this video to guide other chosen ones to this truth. Let me talk about the specific moment you were called mentally unstable. You remember it clearly, the exact conversation, the tone used, the look given like medication was needed instead of validation. Maybe it was said directly to your face. Maybe losing touch with reality was the accusation. Maybe therapy was suggested. Maybe others were told you were having a breakdown. But what was really being said was this: your ability to see truth makes me uncomfortable. Your gift for reading situations I cannot read threatens my ego. Your connection to something beyond logic challenges my entire worldview. Mental health language was weaponized against you. Something serious was turned into an insult designed to silence you. That is manipulation at its finest. That is gaslighting in its purest form. Your accuracy could not be argued with. Your points could not be debated. The patterns you were seeing could not be explained away. So your credibility was attacked. Your sanity was questioned. You became the problem instead of the problems you were identifying being addressed. And for a while it worked. You started wondering if maybe the accusations were right. Maybe things were being seen that were not there. Maybe your intuition was broken. Maybe you needed fixing. But here is what was not understood. Mental instability does not predict the future with accuracy. Delusion does not manifest into reality. Paranoia does not result in specific outcomes unfolding exactly as described. Irrational thinking does not lead to rational consequences appearing as predicted. What you had was not mental illness. What you had was mental clarity, so sharp it cut through illusions. What you had was spiritual sight, so clear it exposed what others wanted, kept hidden. What you had was prophetic knowing, so precise it created terror in those who wanted to destroy your confidence. Now look what happened. Every single thing you were called crazy for saying has come to pass. That relationship ending badly happened. That person betraying trust happened. That addiction spiraling out of control happening right now. That legal trouble arriving, currently unfolding. That financial collapse in progress. That isolation from people who genuinely cared complete. You were not mentally unstable when you predicted these outcomes. You were mentally superior. You were operating with clarity others could not achieve. You were accessing information others had no ability to perceive. The accusation of mental instability was projection. Disconnection from reality belonged to the one making accusations. Living in denial was the actual problem. Inability to see obvious patterns and consequences was the real issue. Thinking distorted by ego, addiction, and delusion was the genuine concern. But facing that truth about self was impossible. So projection onto you was the chosen path. Taking personal, mental, and spiritual confusion and trying to convince you it was yours. That is what unstable people do. Making stable people question their stability. Making clear-sighted people doubt their vision. Making prophetic people feel like they are losing their minds. But you did not lose your mind. You found your power. The difference is now undeniable. This distinction is crucial for understanding what you actually possess. Paranoia sees threats that do not exist. Prophecy sees consequences that will exist if patterns continue. Paranoia is rooted in fear and distortion. Prophecy is rooted in clarity and divine sight. Paranoia makes you avoid life. Prophecy helps you navigate life with wisdom. You were told what you had was paranoia, but every manifestation of your warnings proves it was prophecy. Paranoid people are wrong consistently. Their fears do not materialize. Their worst-case scenarios do not happen. Their anxieties about disaster are proven unfounded by reality. But you were right consistently. Your concerns materialized exactly as described. Your worst-case scenarios happened precisely as outlined. Your warnings about disaster were proven accurate by reality. That is not mental illness. That is spiritual gift operating at the highest level. Paranoia isolates you from truth. It makes you see danger where safety exists. It makes you distrust people who are trustworthy. It distorts perception until real threats cannot be distinguished from imagined ones. But prophecy connects you to truth. It makes you see actual danger that others miss. It makes you accurately assess who is trustworthy and who is not. It clarifies perception until real patterns can be distinguished from surface appearances. Everything about your experience has been the opposite of paranoia. Everything about your accuracy proves you had prophetic sight. Diagnosis with anxiety was desired by others. Labeling you as unstable was the goal. Medicalizing your gift so dismissal was easier. Because if your insight was just mental illness, ignoring it came without guilt. Mocking it came without consequence. Rejecting it meant missing out on nothing. But your accuracy makes that impossible now. Your vindication proves that what was called sickness was actually spiritual wellness. What was called instability was actually unshakable connection to truth. What was called paranoia was actually prophecy that blindness prevented from being recognized. You never have to question your gift again. You never have to wonder if maybe the accusations were right about you being unstable. You never have to doubt whether your intuition is trustworthy. Reality has spoken. Manifestation has confirmed. The universe has validated. You are prophetically gifted. You see what others cannot see. You know what others cannot know. Anyone who tries to pathologize that gift in the future will be speaking from ignorance, not insight. Being proven right about disaster does not always feel like victory. Sometimes it feels like grief. You warned because you did not want to see suffering. You spoke up because you hoped pain would be avoided. You shared insights because genuine care existed for what would happen. Now this person lives in the consequences you predicted, and part of you wishes you had been wrong. Part of you wishes your prophecy had not come to pass. Part of you would rather have been called crazy and have safety exist than be proven accurate and watch suffering unfold. That heaviness is real. That grief is legitimate. That compassion is part of what makes you powerful. You do not use your gifts to feel superior. You use them to help protect people from avoidable pain. When your warnings were ignored, you did not celebrate approaching consequences. You felt concerned about what was coming. That is the mark of a true prophet. Not someone who enjoys being right about disaster, but someone who grieves when disaster arrives despite warnings given. So if you are carrying any guilt about the current situation, release it now. You did everything possible. You spoke clearly. You warned specifically. You offered genuine concern. The choice was made by others. Wisdom was rejected. Insight that could have saved everything was mocked. What is being experienced now is natural consequence of decisions made, not the result of your prophecies. Your words did not create current reality. Your words simply revealed what choices would create. There is a massive difference between causing something and accurately predicting something. You are not responsible for saving people from themselves. You are not required to convince people who are determined not to listen. You are not obligated to keep warning people who respond to warnings with mockery. You gave truth. What was done with that truth determined outcomes. Now the lesson is being learned that truth rejected becomes truth regretted. That wisdom dismissed becomes wisdom desperately needed. That prophecy mocked becomes prophecy mourned. Your compassion does not require rescue missions now. Your gift does not obligate return to people who degraded it. Your calling does not include sacrificing peace for people who destroyed your confidence. You can have compassion for suffering while maintaining boundaries that protect your energy. You can acknowledge pain while refusing to absorb chaos. You can wish wellness while walking a completely different path. Chosen one, you are free. That freedom is your right to claim fully. Now let me tell you what was happening for you during all of this. That separation? That was not random. That door closing? That was not coincidence. That was divine protection. The universe was removing someone from your life who was blocking your elevation, someone who drained your energy, someone who made you doubt gifts the divine gave you, someone whose presence kept you operating below your true capacity. What felt like rejection was actually divine intervention on your behalf. You might have been hurt when distance appeared, confused when the relationship ended. You might have blamed yourself, wondered what you did wrong, questioned whether you should have said things differently. But you did nothing wrong. You spoke truth. Truth is not always welcomed by people committed to living in lies. The separation happened because you were being repositioned, rededicated, protected from energy that would have continued to diminish you. Think about where you would be right now if connection still existed. You would be absorbing chaos, feeling responsible for consequences, trying to rescue someone from situations created by ignoring your warnings. You would be dimming your light to make comfort possible in darkness. You would be shrinking your gifts to accommodate inability to appreciate them. But you are not in that position. You are free. You are protected. You are covered by boundaries. The divine established when you were too close to see clearly. That door did not just close. It was locked, barred, sealed by spiritual forces protecting your energy, your peace, your future. Something else exists too. A wall went up. Not just any wall. Spiritual protection so strong it cannot be penetrated even with effort. This is being realized now. The permanence of that separation is being felt. It is teaching something crucial. You were never anyone's to control, never anyone's to diminish, never anyone's to gaslight into doubting yourself. You belong to a higher calling. Anyone who could not honor that had to be removed. It was not when consequences first hit. It was not when you heard about troubles. It was earlier than that. It was the moment you decided to trust yourself again, to believe in your gifts regardless of mockery, to stand firm in your knowing even when standing alone. That was the moment divine vindication began manifesting, because you chose yourself. You chose truth. You chose your calling over comfort for others. You stopped shrinking. You stopped apologizing. You stopped explaining yourself to people who had no capacity to understand you. You drew a line and said, I am done doubting what I know to be true. I am done questioning gifts the divine gave me. I am done making myself small for people who cannot handle my light. That declaration shifted everything. It opened portals. It activated spiritual authority. It signaled to the universe that you were ready for what comes next. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something. But talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. The beauty is you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today. Join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. What comes next is bigger than you have experienced before. Opportunities are opening, connections are forming, resources are being released. People who recognize your gifts are being divinely directed toward you. Spaces where your abilities will be celebrated instead of mocked are being prepared. You are being elevated to levels that will make everything you have been through make sense. The mockery was preparation. The doubt was testing. The rejection was redirection. You passed every test by continuing to develop your gifts, even when no one believed in them. But you had to go through fire first. You had to experience the pain of being doubted, the loneliness of being misunderstood, the frustration of seeing clearly while everyone around you was blind, because that fire refined you, it strengthened you, it built spiritual muscle you are going to need for what the universe is preparing you for. You are not the same person who let mockery shake you. You have evolved, you have ascended, you have stepped into a level of confidence that cannot be moved by other people's disbelief. Now we arrive at the powerful part, the part where divine justice becomes undeniable. Everyone who witnessed mockery is now witnessing consequences you predicted. Everyone who heard accusations of instability is now watching everything you said come true with stunning accuracy. Your reputation is being restored without you having to defend yourself. Your credibility is being established without you having to prove anything. Your spiritual authority is being recognized because reality itself is confirming your words. This is vindication on a level most people never experience. Not through argument, not through debate, but through manifestation. Your words became reality. Your visions became circumstances. Your prophecies became history. That is a level of confirmation that silences every critic, that shuts down every skeptic, that proves beyond any doubt that you were connected to truth others could not perceive. The universe is backing you publicly, demonstrating to everyone watching that you speak with divine authority. But here is what matters more than acknowledgement from others: your own certainty, your internal knowing, your unshakable confidence in who you are and what you carry. Because chosen one, you do not need validation from others anymore. You do not need admission that you were right. You do not need apologies for being doubted. You already know your truth. You have already seen your gifts confirmed by reality itself. You have already experienced the divine speaking through you with such precision that manifestation becomes your witness. That is enough. That is everything. You are walking differently now, talking differently, carrying yourself differently. There is authority in your presence that was not there before. Certainty in your voice that silences doubt. Power in your energy that commands respect. People feel it even if no words exist to name it. They sense that you have access to something beyond their reach, that you see what cannot be seen by others, that you know things before circumstances prove you right. Instead of mocking you for it, people are starting to seek you out for it. Your level of prophetic accuracy is not random. It is not accidental. It is not something that happens to just anyone who pays attention. The precision with which your warnings manifested reveals something profound about your spiritual wiring. You are built differently. connected differently, purposed differently. The accuracy of your prophecies is evidence of how deeply the divine trusts you with sensitive information about paths others are walking. Think about what it means that you could see specific outcomes before occurrence. That requires access to spiritual intelligence beyond normal perception. That requires connection to divine knowing that transcends time and space. That requires spiritual sight that can read energetic patterns and translate them into future circumstances. Not everyone has that access. Not everyone carries that connection. Not everyone possesses that sight. It is given to specific people for specific purposes. You are one of those people. Your gift is not just for you, it is for others. That is why the divine shows you things about futures belonging to other people. That is why you receive warnings about paths that lead to destruction. That is why you can sense consequences before arrival. You are meant to be a voice of wisdom for people who cannot see what you see, a guide for those who walk blind, a prophet for a generation that desperately needs spiritual insight. Your accuracy proves you are qualified for that assignment. Your vindication confirms you are ready for that calling. Your gift does not work for everyone. It works for people who are ready to receive it. It activates for people who will honor it. It flows toward people who will apply it. The person who called you mentally unstable was not your assignment. That person was your preparation. The test that proved you could maintain your gift even when it was rejected. The fire that refined your ability to trust yourself even when others doubt you. Purpose was served. Now you are ready for the people who are actually yours to help. While one person drowns in consequences, you are being redirected toward people who need what you carry. There are souls desperate for the kind of guidance you possess. People who will not mock your gifts but honor them. Communities who will not doubt your insights but trust them. Environments where your spiritual sight will be celebrated instead of questioned. Those are your people. Those are the ones the divine is connecting you with. The removal of those who could not appreciate you is making space for those who will. Your calling is not to rescue people who refuse help. Your assignment is not to convince skeptics committed to disbelief. Your purpose is not to prove yourself to people who have already decided you are wrong. Your calling is to share wisdom with those who are ready to receive it, to offer guidance to those who will respect it, to provide truth to those who hunger for it. Chosen one, the right people are coming. Divine direction is bringing them toward you right now. Connections are forming. Opportunities are opening. Doors are swinging wide. This is your moment to step fully into that calling, to stop hiding, to stop playing small, to stop apologizing for gifts the universe gave you. You were built for this level of spiritual authority. You were made for this kind of impact. Everything you went through prepared you for the magnitude of what is coming next. The mockery built resilience. The doubt built faith. The rejection built character. You are ready now. Ready to walk in full authority. Ready to speak truth without hesitation, ready to share gifts without fear. When you step into this, when you own your power completely, something beautiful happens. You become what someone needed but rejected. You become the guide that was refused, the wisdom that was mocked, the protection that was pushed away. But now you are offering it to people who will receive it, people who will apply it, people whose lives will be transformed because humility existed to listen when you spoke. That is where your energy belongs, not trying to save people who do not want saving, but empowering people who are ready to rise. Remember how this started, with someone sitting in a firestorm of consequences, thinking about you constantly, unable to escape the accuracy of your prophecies. Now you understand the full picture. This person is not just facing karma. This person is living proof of your spiritual authority, walking evidence that your gifts are real, breathing testimony that the divine speaks through you with precision that cannot be denied. These consequences are your vindication. This regret is your confirmation. This torment is the universe declaring to everyone watching that you were right. But this teaching is not really about that person. It never was. This teaching is about you recognizing who you are, about you stepping into gifts you were taught to doubt, about you owning spiritual authority you were made to question, about you rising into a calling that requires you to trust yourself more than you trust opinions belonging to other people. The mockery was never about you. It was about fear of what you represent, discomfort with truth that readiness did not exist to face, inability to operate on frequencies you access naturally. You are a chosen one. That is not arrogance, that is fact. You have access to divine intelligence most people cannot perceive. You see beyond physical reality into spiritual truth. You know things before circumstances prove you right, because you are connected to the source of all knowing. Anyone who made you doubt that was projecting spiritual blindness onto you. Your light threatened them. Your truth made them uncomfortable. Your gifts challenged their limitations, so making you small was attempted. But you were never meant to be small. Look at where you are now. Standing in confirmed authority, walking in proven power, operating with validated gifts. The very things that were mocked are the things that make you unstoppable. The sensitivity that was criticized is actually spiritual receptivity. The overthinking that was dismissed is actually prophetic processing. The intensity that could not be handled is actually divine passion. You are not too much. You are exactly enough for what the universe is calling you to do. Chosen one, let me tell you what is coming for you. You are about to enter a season of unprecedented spiritual authority, a time when your gifts become undeniable, a period when opportunities seek you instead of you searching for them. Doors are opening to spaces where your abilities will be recognized, honored, and valued. You are being elevated to levels you have only glimpsed in vision. This is happening faster than you expect. Resources are being released, support is arriving, connections are forming. Everything you need is being divinely orchestrated. But with increased authority comes increased responsibility. With greater platform comes greater accountability. Stay grounded, remain humble, continue seeking divine guidance even when your gifts become widely recognized. That is what will sustain you. That is what will keep you clear. That is what will maintain your integrity. Success can be more dangerous than mockery if it causes disconnection from your source. Stay connected, stay surrendered, stay in constant communication with the divine. The people who mocked you will hear about your success. Your elevation will be witnessed. Your gifts being celebrated will be seen. Some will reach out. Some will try to reconnect. Some will act like mockery never happened. You get to decide how you respond. But whatever you choose, do it from wholeness, not woundedness, from clarity, not confusion, from divine guidance, not emotional reaction. You owe nothing to those people, but you owe everything to yourself. Your vindication is complete. Your gifts are confirmed. Your calling is clear. Everything you spoke came to be. Everything you prophesied manifested. Everything you speak over your own life, from this moment forward, will come to pass with the same accuracy, because you are chosen, marked by the divine, connected to wisdom beyond this world, gifted with sight that transcends physical reality. No amount of mockery could ever change that fundamental truth. Someone said you were mentally unstable, but all that you spoke on actually came to be. Now everyone knows, you were never the problem. You were never crazy. You were never disconnected. You were awake. You were connected. You were chosen. Walk in that power now. Speak your truth boldly. Trust your gifts completely. The universe is with you. The divine backs you. Every word you speak carries the weight of proven prophecy. You are exactly who the divine says you are. That changes everything.